Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the second session of 2 of questions and answers. I'm your host Amjad Muhammad, and I'll be with you for another 20 minutes or so as we reach the end of today's session. But we've got time yet, don't worry, don't panic. The number to call is 01274 214299. That's 01274 214299. In case you wish to email, then the email address is q&a@iqra.tv. That's q&a@iqra.tv. And phone or email, we had a busy session before the break. No rest. We had, I think, nearly 7 callers, alhamdulillah, or 7 callers we had. All ladies, all sisters, mashallah, keen to know the deen on various topics. One was about joining between Maghrib and Isha because of the time we are in. One was about being a good ummati. One was about praying at home behind the imam in the masjid if it's live. And we have 3 more questions which we're going to answer now. The first question of the 3 that remains is, if a person is in wudu, and it could be specific to a lady, it doesn't have to be specific to a lady, but if a person is in wudu, can they recite the Quran in short sleeves? Yes, it is permissible to recite the Quran in short sleeves. There's no requirement as such. This is not considered as a requirement for reciting of the Quran. For praying salah, it is yes. However, if it is a very short sleeve, meaning it's kind of goes past the elbow, then it would be khilaf of adab. It would be contrary to etiquettes. But if it's on the forearm, then there's no problem with that. As I said, if it gets up to the kind of halfway up the arm, close to the armpit, then it would be against etiquettes. Again, it would be permissible to recite the Quran. I'm talking about etiquettes here, adab. And adab don't make something impermissible. So that's that question. ये दूसरे सवाल जो आया था, बहन जी ने सवाल किया कि अगर किसी कोई औरत या मर्द माजूर है, यानी वज़ू टूट जाता है जल्दी से, और फिर उनके लिए मौका भी नहीं है कि वज़ू दोबारा कर ले, तो वो जमा कर सकता है क्या? यानी दोनों मगरिब और इशा को जमा कर सकता है? तो इस मसले में जमा नहीं हो सकता, इसलिए कि इसकी और कोई हल है। ये हल ये है कि अगर कोई ना माजूर है तो वो ऐसे करेंगे कि वो जो माजूरियत की वजह से वो माजूरियत अभी नाक़िसुल वुदू नहीं हो जाएगी। खुदा न खास्ता ये मिसाल ये है कि अगर किसी का नाक से खून आ रहा है, तो ये खून नहीं बंद हो रहा है, वो नाक से खून ऐसे चल रहा है, बस आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आ रहा है लेकिन नहीं बंद हो रहा है, तो अभी ये इस आदमी के लिए वुदू तो टूट हो रहा है, इसलिए कि खून निकल रहा है। तो ये क्या करेंगे अगर पूरा, तो ये देखेंगे कि भाई नमाज शुरू वक्त से लेकर आखिरी वक्त तक ये खून बंद हो जाएगी या नहीं। अगर ये खून बंद हो जाए 10-15 मिनट के लिए, तो अभी ये टाइम है कि अभी आप जाओ वज़ू कर लो, नमाज पढ़ लो, इसलिए कि 10-15 मिनट है कि खून नहीं निकलता है। अगर नमाज शुरू होने से और आखिरी तक ख़त्म तक खून नहीं बंद हो रहा है कि मुकम्मल ऐसे चल रहा है, तो अभी ये आदमी क्या करेंगे? इसलिए कि आगे अभी तो उसका वज़ू नहीं हो जाएगी, इसलिए खून निकलता है, तो शरीयत ने उनको माज़ूर हुक्म दे दिया। और माज़ूर हुक्म का मतलब ये है कि वो जो खून जो निकल हो रहा है, तो इसकी वजह से उनकी वज़ू नहीं टूट हो जाएगी। तो वो ऐसे कोई कॉटन बड वगैरह नाक में डालेंगे, वज़ू करने के बाद नाक में डालेंगे और नबी नमाज़ पढ़ेंगे। और अभी इस वक्त में नमाज भी पढ़ सकता है, कुरान भी पढ़ सकता है वगैरह, जो दिल चाहिए वो कर सकता है। लेकिन जब ये वक्त ख़त्म हो जाएगी तो फिर वो दोबारा वज़ू करेंगे। अगर किसी और चीज़ की वजह से वज़ू टूट गया, जैसे उनको टॉयलेट गया, पेशाब किया वगैरह, तो इसकी वजह से वो वज़ू टूट हो जाएगी, लेकिन ये खून जो नाक से निकल आ रहा है इसकी वजह से नहीं हो जाएगी। सो दैट वाज दैट क्वेश्चन। द नेक्स्ट वन वाज, बहन जी ने सवाल किया कि घर में 3-4 माइक भी है और फिर इकरा टीवी भी है, तो इसमें जो आवाज़ आ रहा है तो मैं हर दफ़ा को जवाब देना पड़ेगा। तो बात यह है कि जो लाइव है, यानी ये जो इकरा टीवी पर आता है ये लाइव नहीं है, ये तो रिकॉर्डिंग है, लेकिन वो जो लाइव है तो इसमें तो जवाब देना पड़ेगा। तो बात यह है कि आप ऐसे करें कि ये दूसरे जो माइक है उनको थोड़ी से या तो बंद कर ले या लो कर लो। अगर बयान करने सुनने के लिए आपने ये माइक डाली है, तो जब बयान मस्जिद में होगी तो आप फिर माइक ऑन कर सकता है, लेकिन इसलिए कि जब अज़ान हो जाएगी ना, तो अज़ान की वजह से वो लाइव भी है, तो अभी जवाब देना पड़ेगा। तो एक माइक जो आपके लोकल मस्जिद है तो उनको माइक को ऑन छोड़ दो, इसलिए कि आपको ये बताएंगे कि अभी नमाज शुरू हो गया, मगरिब का, असर का, फजर का वगैरह। लेकिन ये दूसरी जो है आपके पास, ये तो गालिबन बयान सुनने के लिए है, तो आप ये तो या बंद कर लो या कि लो वॉल्यूम पर रख लो, तो जब बयान आएंगे तो आप फिर वॉल्यूम करें। लेकिन ये जो रिकॉर्डेड आ रहा है, इकरा टीवी पर रिकॉर्डेड है, दूसरे जो चैनल पर रिकॉर्डेड है, लाइव नहीं है, तो फिर उनके लिए जवाब नहीं देना पड़ेगा। So just to help out for those who aren't English speaking, we had a few questions that were in Urdu, and that I can just quickly translate into English. One was, can you pray behind the imam in the masjid if you are at home? So if the salah is going on live in the masjid, and either you're watching a video live of it or an audio live of it, can you follow it? Now the issue is that there is a big gap between the last saf and your saf, basically. And when there is a big gap, then you are not part of the Jama'ah. There can be maybe a saf or two gap between you and the last saf, but there cannot be no more than that, because you are not part of the congregation now. You are separate from the congregation. So therefore your salah will not be valid if you pray at home following the imam via the audio or via the video. Next question we had was from a sister who's saying that she suffers from her wudu breaking regularly, and could she, as a reason, could she, as an excuse, be allowed to join between those two prayers? I responded by saying it won't be permissible to join between prayers for that reason, because for that reason there is another alternative that the Sharia has provided, and that is that if a person is suffering from something which is bringing about his or her wudu breaking, and that is constant for a whole prayer time, then this person will be called legally excused. And what that means is that thing, like for example, say a person has a nosebleed, and that nosebleed won't stop. Now if it stops for say Maghrib time starts and his nose is bleeding, and about 15-20 minutes in the middle his nose stops bleeding, then he has to go make wudu, clean, remove the blood from his face, make wudu and quickly pray salah, because he is pure now. But if from the start of Maghrib until the end of Maghrib the bleeding won't stop, not even for 15 minutes, now how is he going to make wudu? So the Sharia says that he will be excused from the nose bleeding as being a nullifier of wudu. So as long as he makes fresh wudu at the time of Maghrib salah time, then that wudu will suffice for him up until the end of Maghrib time, and the bleeding nose will not nullify that wudu. However, if he does something else which nullifies wudu, he goes to the toilet, then even if the nose is still bleeding, then this will nullify his wudu. Okay? And the last question that the sister asked in Urdu again was that if you are at home and you have Iqra TV on, and you have your mic for your local masjid on, or a couple of other, they're not mics, they're receivers. And if you've got other receivers on, and the adhan comes through the TV, the adhan comes through the receivers, are you supposed to give jawab back? Are you supposed to respond back? Because when we hear the muadhin go Allahu Akbar, then we're supposed to say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. When he says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, then we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. When he says Hayya ala salah, then we don't say Hayya ala salah, we say Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Hayya ala al-falah, we say Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, then we say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Then we say Al-Murabba Hazi Da'wat al-Tamati wa Salat al-Qam. We make the dua afterwards. Okay? Now, if you've got 3 receivers on and the TV on, then you're going to hear 4 adhans. Okay? One after the other. Are you supposed to reply back to every single one of them? Well, not the one that you're hearing through the TV, because the one that you're hearing through the TV, well, not the one I just did now, but the one you normally hear through the TV that Iqra TV puts out, that is a recording. Okay? and the others are live, so you need to respond to them. And just with perfect timing, we have had our caller who has rung in on 01274 214299. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू।
मुफ्ती साहब, अभी मैंने फ़ोन किया था, डिलीवरी से बोल रही हूँ। वो जो आप बोल रहे थे जे नमाज जी है ना, समय मस्जिद जो है ना, मस्जिद जी ऐसा थी थोड़ी दूरी पर उन्होंने मैसेज हमारे घर आता है हमारे फ़ोन पर। तो फिर जब लो स्पीकर लगा होता है हम अजान होती है, फिर वक्फा देते हैं, 4 सुन्नत पढ़ने ना, फिर मुड़ी वापस फिर मैसेज आता है, फिर कामत होती है, फिर नमाज होती है, सारी सब कुछ सुनते हैं। तो यदि हमने एक वीक पहले नमाज असा पढ़ी है मौलाना पीछे, तो वो हमारी नमाज हुई या नहीं हुई?
ये मौलाना आपके घर में आ रहा है या मस्जिद में है?
घर में, हमारे घर में आ रहा है वो मैसेज बाकायदा पढ़ने, और जब अजान होती है फिर वो वक्फा आता है, फिर उसके बाद मुड़ी कामत होती है, सब कुछ हम सुनते हैं।
तो लेकिन
जब नमाज फिनिश हो जाती है तो वो लाउड स्पीकर बंद कर देते हैं।
हाँ, लेकिन इमाम साहब जो आपके घर में है वो नमाज पढ़ रहा है, आप उनके पीछे नमाज पढ़ रहा है?
हाँ, नहीं इमाम कोई नहीं, हमारे घर हम माँ बेटी हैं 2, तो वो पहले पढ़ती रही हैं, तो हमने सोचा जी हमने
तो
पहले और नमाज हमारी हुई या नहीं हुई।
अच्छा, तो इमाम साहब मस्जिद में है और आप घर में हैं।
हम घर में और उनको उन्होंने लाइव लगाया हुआ मैसेज भेज दे वो फोन में।
हाँ, वो रिसीवर से आवाज़ आ रहा है।
जी जी जी
जी जी जी। तो ये नमाज नहीं होगी, इसलिए कि आपके, और जैसे मैंने पहले भी कहा कि इसलिए कि फासला बहुत है। अब मस्जिद
वो जो हमने पढ़ लिया,
हाँ वो पढ़ लिए, तो कितने
अल्लाह ताला कबूल करूं। हाँ,
कितने पढ़े आपने?
1 हफ्ता पूरा।
हाँ, तो आपको प्लीज रुजू कर लो, दोबारा को रिपीट कर लो।
दोबारा रिपीट?
जी 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 जी।
हाँ, मैंने सुबह भी पढ़नी मान के पीछे
नहीं वो रिपीट कर लो जी।
अच्छा
ठीक है जी, नो प्रॉब्लम जी। ओके जी।
अच्छा, कज़ा करके पढ़नी पड़ेगी ना?
हाँ जी जी, कज़ा पढ़ने की, बिल्कुल।
बहुत मेहरबानी।
नो प्रॉब्लम जी। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। अच्छा, so yes, so just to give that in the English version is obviously this was a follow-up from the sister who phoned in the first period that she's been praying at home with the imam in the masjid, and the imam wasn't with her, but she's hearing the sound coming through the phone or coming through the receiver, and she's been following it. And she asked the question that, are they valid or would I need to repeat them? And fortunately, she's only done this for 1 week and not for a month or a year or 10 years. So therefore, alhamdulillah, it wasn't too difficult to give her the news that she would need to repeat them. So she would have to make up whatever they were a week's worth, and they will be qadha salahs. So that's why it's always good to ask the question. You see, that's why Iqra TV provides this service, that before you do something. Today a friend of mine, he sent me a text message and he goes, oh Mufsab, am I all right to buy capsules with shell gelatin? So I thought, shells don't have gelatin. The animals have gelatin. Shells don't have gelatin. So I said, what are you on about? Shells don't have gelatin. Send me a picture of the medicine. So I don't know whether he did this as a joke or what. He sent me a picture of the front of the box. I said, that's no use to me. Send me a picture of the ingredients. So he sent me the picture of the ingredients, and it says shell, and then brackets, it tells you what the shell is made of. So it says shell brackets gelatin, blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah. And he said it's got shell gelatin. So I said, yeah, honestly, man, silly boy. I said, the shell is saying what the shell is made of. Not that it's shell gelatin. It's saying that the shell is made of gelatin, and gelatin is going to be impermissible. So, don't. So luckily he was outside the shop. So he went back inside the shop. So I said, when you get your money back, get me some food and drop it off. And then he cracked his joke. So I thought, for this you can crack jokes, but not for when it came to answering your question. Anyway, he's an old friend of mine. I've known him for 20 odd years, alhamdulillah. So we have a little bit of banter, as they say. So that's, mashallah, a good round of questions there. Alhamdulillah, I feel like we've done a good service today, alhamdulillah. We didn't get much chance to answer some of the questions on the channel, but that's not a problem. because at the end of the day, you know, the main people that we're providing the service for is for people to phone in. So may Allah bless all the sisters who phoned in. I hope that I've been of some service to answer those questions. I think I might be able to sneakily sneak one in. We might sneak this, and this was that question about that sister asking the question about non-hijabi women and whatever, how to do. Sometimes there are videos, so sometimes women give voiceover to the video, meaning they don't show their face, but they keep giving advice. I've heard a woman shouldn't keep her voice. Anyway, let me reply to this sister. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. Sometimes you have to be a little bit careful with being sort of over the top and analyzing every single little thing, and I think, you know, otherwise you're going to find life is going to become very difficult for you. If you see there's no harm in the actual act, then engage in the act. So, you know, there's no issues from what you've described. So, you know, don't overcook the situation. Don't complicate the situation. Because what you're going to do is you're going to end up, you know, restricting every single activity, every single behavior, and that's going to make the deen extremely difficult for you. And then when the deen becomes extremely difficult for you, it will be very difficult for you to practice it. So we have to, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. So yeah, so that's that question dealt with. Alhamdulillah. There are other questions that we've got, but I'm conscious that I'll dig into them. And then obviously we won't have time to answer them. Okay. So anyway, we're going to get back to those other questions tomorrow, because we have Friday. Friday we've got the full session, same time, same place. So hopefully we'll get lots of questions via the phones again. And if we don't get any questions via the phones, then I know I've got plenty in stock left to get my in-tray empty. Because I think Friday is usually a quiet day. We do get, you know, quite a number of calls on a Thursday and on a Wednesday, but Fridays tends to be quiet. You know, I said that, and then watch tomorrow. You know, I won't get a chance to breathe. So there will be plenty of time to box those questions off. Anyway, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase your zeal for practicing upon His deen. Don't forget, it is Thursday night. Don't forget to send durood upon the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is the way you support the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. This is the way you can say something about him, stand up for him, respect his honor and all the rest of it. Is send durood upon him. He is not affected by anybody. He is above and beyond being able to smear. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.